watch the recording that Rick is going to do for us. So thank you all for making time. I know we're getting into spring and everybody's excited to be outside. So we don't have a formal program today. You've probably been starting to get some messaging from the HOC here in the last 24 hours. In fact, I'm going to ask, has anybody got anything from Promotions Calgary 2025 in their email? No? Okay. It may show up tonight.
I just wanted to ask, talking about things that we just got, there was something from Christina Hassan about a get together in Calgary. And I wondered whether that was to do with the RI folks coming to town. And, yeah, if someone could tell us more about that.
When
Yeah,
did you get that, Madeline? When did you get that?
I got that about an hour ago. Wait a minute. Okay, hi everyone. Keep your eyes peeled for an invitation to a virtual meeting. Oh, okay, next. No, sorry. This is the one today. Calgary area AGs. Send this to anyone you know who's interested in Rotary, please. And then it's a link to Eventbrite, and it's connect with Rotary at Maisie Eatery, May the 8th at 6 p.m. Overview: join Rotary clubs in the Calgary area to eat and drink, connect with other professionals, and learn about the impact of Rotary.
I can speak to that one, Madeline.
Good, thank you.
So maybe I'll start with, you know what, before I go there, is there anything else anybody would like to talk about tonight? I've got kind of a list of things here. I'll get a list going and then we'll get moving. Anything else you'd like on?
Volunteer assignment, Darcy?
Okay.
Yeah, that, and also the whole issue of people needing a My Rotary account.
Mm-hmm.
And I can explain that more, but thanks.
Okay. Rick, you look like you got something. No?
No, I think I'll go to your list and I'm prepared to comment on the volunteer side of things.
Okay, perfect. Thanks. So I've got a list of about 10 or 11 things. I'm going to start with what Madeline brought up, and then I'll just start working through some other stuff. Craig is here tonight. He's going to be taking a couple of these, so I'll throw it over to him when we get to those topics. Rick is here to talk a little bit about volunteers, so that's great. So we'll make this as informative and as brief as possible. So what the email you're talking about there from Christina is that the district is working with RI to put on a prospective member event on May the 8th. And so RI came to the district, well, probably about actually, you know what? Christina went to RI about 6 months ago and tried to see if we could put together an event to drive recruitment and somewhat leverage the convention. And so that's what that invitation is for.
Right.
So Dan Doherty, Jeff Foss, Christina have been kind of leading that. I've been involved a little bit. And RI has been kind of facilitating it. They've taken care of all the logistics and they're taking care of all the registration now. And so what I saw here earlier today is time to make sure that all the clubs are aware of this and asking clubs to bring out prospective members.
Good.
And so the agenda for the evening is some social time, hear from a few testimonials around why people should consider becoming a Rotarian, and then doing a small service project. And I can't remember what the service project is off the top of my head, but I think it's a couple of hours that we're asking people to come together. So that's what that's about.
Great.
That's just Calgary, Darcy.
Yes, it is. It is well, you know what? It is a district event. I would say that anybody from the district, if they want to travel into Calgary with prospective members, are welcome to do that. There was a sense amongst the group that the likelihood of that happening, outside of High River to the south and Airdrie to the north is probably pretty low, but no, it's open to everybody in the district. One of the things that we did talk about actually is the idea of maybe having some club membership directors from outside of Calgary, Olds, Red Deer, maybe Lethbridge, come and attend the event to see how it works. Because one of the things Christina would like to do is she'd like to see the district hold similar events in other communities. And so Miriam and I have been talking about that for Miriam's year as DG. And so we've actually been budgeting for 2 or 3 of those events in 25, 26. So no, wouldn't say it's exclusively Calgary, Mary, but you might want to encourage your membership director to come and see what it's all about.
But there's no emails going out to people outside of Calgary.
You know what? That's a great question. I'm gonna guess probably not, but let me raise that as maybe there needs to be an email that goes out to at least the membership directors. So
Did
let me
that
find out.
email go to the membership directors in each of the Calgary clubs? Do we know that?
Sorry, what was that?
Do we know? The reason I'm asking is Kent Fraser is our current membership director for Calgary Fish Creek.
Yeah.
And he wanted some numbers from me as to how many had registered from our club to attend the convention,
Mhm.
and who had signed up to volunteer. So, because he said he was given a project, so I'm assuming that came from Christina. This is now starting to make sense. So I provided him with the numbers that I had at hand.
Okay.
That information that I just let you have came to the Calgary area assistant governors, and it came out over WhatsApp.
Okay. Yeah, I think I might have seen something similar today. Okay. That gives you everything you need?
Yes, on that. That's very helpful.
Okay, sounds good. All right, let me go to the top of the list and we'll just start working through a few things. So one of the things that so let's talk a little bit about host hospitality for a moment. You've probably seen an email, or if you haven't, it's probably in your inbox. Host hospitality is sold out for the convention. We've had terrific response to it, and it's been so popular that we need to find a few more hosts. And I know that Pat is working on that and looking for more Rotarians to engage in hosting people from around the world. Craig, you probably have a better sense as to how many spots we're trying to fill at this stage. I'm a little out of the loop on that, but good news, sold out. Now we just got to find a few more people to help out. Craig?
Yeah, I think that I don't know exactly what the number is. Pat was saying that it could be a couple hundred, up to about 250. Now, these numbers, they're we need to confirm them. We're working off of a couple databases right now, and once we have it all confirmed, then we'll know the exact number. But that's where we are. I think we're about 200, 250 that we need to fill.
Just out of curiosity, who on the screen is already planning to host Rotarians for host hospitality? Almost everybody.
In
All
a
right.
venue,
Yeah.
not at home.
Right. Okay. Very good. Well, spread the word. Pat, I know Pat will very much appreciate people reaching out to her and offering to help. We're actually starting to get emails and phone calls from people asking if there's a waiting list. We're really not encouraging that because we're having a hard enough time making sure we have enough spots for the people that have signed up. So it's been super popular. And to be honest, it's been great from a messaging point of view that we can go to the Rotary world and tell them that one of our events is already sold out, as we get really focused now on getting people excited about the grandstand show on Sunday night, getting them excited about the 2 events that are on grandstand show Saturday night, the 2 events on Sunday night, and the event on Tuesday night. So so that's all good news on that front. The other thing I wanted to touch on quickly was accommodations. So, accommodations has been an ongoing dialogue that we've been having in the district for the last number of months. We're getting a little bit of feedback from Rotary International, not Rotary International, but people in the Rotary world about accommodations. So if you're hearing anything about accommodations, please let your folks know that they can go to the HOC website. There is a page there on the HOC website which details all of the accommodation options available for Calgary, and encourage people to check in literally every day. It's a pretty fluid and dynamic inventory that's being managed. Of course, there's the host hotels people can check out, and then there's any other hotel they can check out in Calgary in a separate page. And then, of course, there's Airbnb and VRBO. So, when the convention was being put together and we were chatting with Tourism Calgary, we have the ability in the city to host 30,000 people. It's just a matter of making sure that they can go find a place to stay. And I think there's a little bit of work being done around folks that have registered for the convention, but haven't confirmed they've come. They might have accommodations that they haven't canceled yet. And that's why we're encouraging people to check the website regularly, because there may be spaces that they're looking for that are full that may just all of a sudden free up one day. So, anything else on accommodation?
Sorry, that one is very fluid. Like if you go on the website today, right now, it might show that there's 56 rooms, in various price points. You go back in 2 hours and you're down to 37, and then you're up to 72. Like it switches through the day. And the reason for that is because you'll get people that book accommodation where they can get it, out by the airport or what have you. And then as they're looking, they see that there's something else available, so they'll, closer in, and they're moving, or they're booking rooms, to be with their friends or what have you. So it is an ebb and a flow. So yeah, just make sure that if anybody's looking, look several times and you'll find what you're looking for.
Rick?
Does the website include SATE and UFC as well?
It does now, yeah.
They're still available, eh? That's good.
Yeah. So a quick question for all of you. I wasn't able to attend last month's meeting. Did we take the opportunity to walk you through the revisions to the website? Do you recall? Probably not. I'm looking at everybody's faces. So you know what I'm going to do, if it's okay with you? I'm going to take 5 minutes to just highlight some stuff. So over the course of the last month, what we've been doing is we've been enhancing the website, updating it, modifying it a little bit. And based on feedback that we were getting from club champions, based on feedback that we were getting from other Rotarians, and what we've tried to do with the website is we've tried to turn the website into something that is almost like a one-stop shop. If you've got questions, or you have or you want more information on the convention, you can go to the HOC's website, and the pieces particular to Rotary International will point you over to their site. Everything related to Calgary, you can take out on take a look at on our site. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to go through all of the details of our site with you, but I would like to maybe just share some of the headings so that you can see some of the enhancements that have been made. So do you all see that now?
Yeah.
Yep, you do? Okay. So we've changed the homepage a little bit. One of the things that we're asking all Rotarians to do, and this is that email that I alluded to at the beginning of the call, is right here. We'd like Rotarians to register for our newsletter. So we're going to be pivoting our newsletter a bit. The district has been getting a newsletter for a number of months. Craig's daughter has been doing a great job building that for us. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take that newsletter and we're going to start circulating it to everybody that registers on our website to be updated. And that newsletter is going to come out once a month. The other thing we're encouraging people to do is follow us on the 3 social channels: Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And currently what we're doing there is we are from now until the convention, we are doing a post a weekday between now and the convention with information on what's happening. There's going to be this week we're focusing on signature events. Next week we're focusing on pre and post tours. And then we've actually built out the messaging calendar from now until the convention starts. So if you're on any one of those 3 channels, or you're talking to fellow Rotarians who want to know what's going on, have them follow us on the social channels. And every morning there'll be a new post on something related to the convention. We're encouraging clubs to follow the channel. We're encouraging people to share what they find on the social channels. And we're doing our best to make sure we're getting information out to people that they can follow along with. The other thing that we're going to be doing, and this is more for registrants, maybe new first-time registrants, is we're offering a series of webinars, very similar to what we're doing tonight for our club champions, except we're offering these globally. And so what we're doing is we're offering webinars almost 2 a week starting next week for about 6 weeks. And they're going to be in all 7 Rotary languages, all 8 Rotary languages. 90% of the people that have registered this year have told us that English is their primary language. So there's going to be a lot of English webinars in the first 2 or 3 weeks. And the webinars will be about an hour in length, and we've tried to time them based on time zone and who we think will participate on certain days. So if you have folks in your club who have questions about what's happening with the convention, either Rotary International questions or Calgary questions, have them tune into the webinars. We'll be happy to answer them. We'll probably keep them relatively loose like this. I think what we're going to end up doing is building a bit of a slide deck that we're going to post on the website for people to go take a look at before they come. And then it'll be really an opportunity for folks from around the world to ask us questions as they prepare their journey to Calgary. So that's the other piece that you may want to share with folks in your clubs. Rick, did you have a question?
Yeah, I assume these webinars will be recorded and posted somewhere where people can go find them if they can't make the webinar.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know what? I have a question for you on that. So, for example, we have 7 English webinars or 8 English webinars they're going to be doing. Do you think we should record all of them, or should we record one of them? And I'm looking for input.
I would recommend you record them all because, you know, sometimes depending on the time, people just can't make them all, or they might miss it or forget about it. And this way they can always have an opportunity to go back and see it when it's more convenient to them.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Thank you. So let me go back to the web page. And what I really want to do is just talk about the top line menu system for you. So the way that this was designed is it was designed to help walk people through planning their time in Calgary. You're Invited is all about how do you register for the convention. Now, we expect most people that are coming have registered, although people can register, you know, up until the middle of June. So if there's anybody in your club who hasn't registered yet and is wanting to, they can come to the HOC website, go to You're Invited, and that will take them to RI's website where they can register. I'm Looking for Fun is really about the signature events. So we've organized the signature events by day in which they're happening. So the grandstand is on Saturday, Rock the Nation, or I forget the name of the other one off the top of my head, is on Sunday night. And then we're showing that Host Hospitality is sold out on Monday. And then we have the Western Showcase on Tuesday night. The other thing we're encouraging people to do is buy their cowboy hats early, buy them on the website. We're going to be arranging for people to pick up their cowboy hats when they arrive in Calgary at the House of Friendship. And so we're really encouraging people from around the globe to get a cowboy hat before they arrive. And one of the things that we're planning for on June the 21st, which is the unofficial grand opening of the convention, is there is a plan to do what we believe will be Calgary's largest white hat ceremony. And so we are hoping people will book their travel plans around that and make sure they have their cowboy hats before they get to the city.
Can I just ask quickly, should those who've registered for volunteering buy a white hat online?
Rick, do you want to comment on that?
Well, if, I think the way it's set up, we've ordered a supply of cowboy hats and the vest, the blue vest, which look quite nice. So I think you get a cowboy hat if you volunteer for 2 shifts. I think that's how. So if you want to have it, like, we're making arrangements to have them picked up prior to the convention starting.
When will volunteers know what the situation is regarding the white hats? Or, you know what, a lot of people are telling me that they don't know about one shift or 2 shifts or more because they don't know where they'll be placed or what the times will be. So, and they're keen to be part of this cowboy hat thing.
Right now, we're looking at probably the last 2 weeks of May that we'll launch. We'll reach out to everybody that's in our database and send them an email asking them to look at their schedule, their own personal schedule, and look at the shifts that are available and choose and get in there. And my recommendation to Fareed has been that we should stage the launch so that our District 5360 Rotarians get first crack at it, because they're the ones that have really stepped up to the plate in terms of expressing an interest in volunteering. And I think prior to that, there'll be a communication going out just explaining any sort of unanswered questions that have come in recently. We've been dealing with them kind of one-offs, but we need to get out there and do a bit of an update. And I think that we have our next meeting a week, Wednesday, and I think we'll target something shortly after that. Have I answered your question?
Yeah, I'm thinking that I'd like to put something in our newsletter, and I'm thinking that I might draft something up and send it to you and Darcy and see if I get it right. So I'll wait for feedback from the draft.
Right now, I'm working on a little bit of a template that's going to give ideally 1 or 2 page overview of the volunteer opportunities without putting it into any sort of shift schedule. It's just going to give you what dates, what time slots, the venue, that sort of thing.
Okay, thanks. Sorry to interrupt, Darcy.
No, you're all good. Thank you. Good question. We'll move over to the Blue Sky City, which is information about Calgary. So most of us know everything we need to know about Calgary. This is really targeting folks that are visiting. So Calgary 101 is focused on, what's the weather going to be like? What can people expect when they come to the city? Explore Calgary is a fantastic site put together by Tourism Calgary as a way to get people educated about, all of the activity that's in the city. So that's what Blue Sky City is. Pre and post tours. This link will take you straight to Anderson. And maybe what I'll do is just quickly go there. Sorry, it'll take you here and then you scroll down and it'll go straight to Anderson. And so Anderson Travel is facilitating all of our tours. And they've been working with Corinne Wilkinson over the last month or so to get a series of Indigenous tours, vocational tours, and some half-day or day-long tours for targeting partners in particular who are accompanying a Rotarian to the convention, but maybe not attending the convention themselves. So there's some great stuff in here. And I won't spend a lot of time on this. But of course, if you have a moment or you want to encourage members of your club to take a look, there might be some tours that people from Southern Alberta want to be part of. Moving on to the necessities. So there's information around airline discounts. So there's still airline discounts available. If you're talking to people who are flying into Calgary, both Air Canada and WestJet have discounts available. And then where do I put my head down is the site that has all of the accommodation options that are available. So there's the housing block, there's what we're calling beyond the block, so everything else in the city. Here's the campus options, and so you can go in there to get information, and then of course you can go to Airbnb and VRBO. I'm not sure there's much left on the camping side of things, but what we've tried to do is make sure all of the information is available and readily accessible. I Want to Serve is all about volunteering, so we've spent a little bit of time talking about that. If there are people in your club that haven't registered to volunteer yet, please encourage them to come over here, and they can click on volunteering, HOC volunteering, and they can register to volunteer. And if you're talking to anybody who's saying, I'd like to maybe take on the host hospitality piece, they can come over here and sign up for host hospitality as well. So that's where we find everything on I Want to Serve. And then Magic All Around is where you can grab any information that you want to have, particularly for promotional material if you need it. So what we're doing is we're actually uploading a lot of information into this resource. I can't remember the name of it as it comes up here. The Spread the Word tab. So this is where we're saving webinars that we're hosting. And so, for example, all of the webinar recordings that we'll do based on Rick's suggestion, we'll find in here. There is still 3 PowerPoint decks in here. Calgary Convention 101 is an overview of Calgary. Then there's the convention overview, and then we've put together a shorter version of both of them called the Convention Crash Course for anybody who's looking for that information. Probably what we're going to be doing for the webinars that we're hosting over the next month is encouraging Rotarians before they come to the webinar to check out the crash course. We'll probably tweak it a little bit so that they have some baseline information and we can use our time together to chat and answer questions. So that's kind of what the website looks like. So we've made it a little bit more all-encompassing. We've tried to make it a one-stop shop for people. If you're looking for information and you can't find it on the website, be sure to email info@rotarycalgary2025.org. That goes to Linda Morris, and Linda and I are working together to continue to take some of the questions we're getting and add that information to the website as we go forward. So any questions or comments around that? Rick?
Yeah, I've been on this site almost daily for the last 3 weeks, I think. I know it's been evolving. I have to say it's an incredible website. I'm really, really proud of what you guys have done in terms of making this very user-friendly. It sort of follows a nice organized, and everything you probably need is there. You just have to follow the path. I'm really impressed with the quality of it.
Cool. Well, Craig deserves tons of credit because he got this thing started right from the beginning. And I didn't know this, so I'm going to put a plug in for Craig because I found out after the fact that when we were kind of doing the next phase of the website, he was up to till 3 o'clock in the morning one day programming all of the changes that we asked to go up. I didn't know he was responsible for that stuff. So he's a pretty hands-on guy, this Craig.
Well, I didn't come up with all the content, so there you go.
So yeah, it's thanks for the compliment, Rick. Really appreciate that. I'm glad it comes across that way. Madeline.
Yeah, so I sort of got this idea that maybe my club should aim to have 100% involvement.
Yeah.
And so then I started talking about registration for the folks who haven't registered as a top priority, if you like.
Yeah.
And I asked at the last meeting, so there were about 70 people there or so, and I asked how many of them had my Rotary accounts. And I would say it was about 70%.
Okay.
And And those that don't, obviously, are the ones who are involved locally, not internationally. And they've never contemplated having a My Rotary account. And so it's confusing for them that they need a separate account from their club runner account and the district.
Mhm.
And I was wondering whether it would be possible on that tab for registering,
Mhm.
whether it would be possible to do an explanation for them so that they understand more what they're getting into. And I have to say that one of the things that made it, I've spent some time helping others do it, and it's made me realize. And one of the things is when you go to register for the convention, it says register now, and you
Mhm.
press that button. But then when it comes up with my Rotary, it says register. And
Okay.
so when it says register on the My Rotary, it actually means get a My Rotary account.
Yeah.
But it's confusing that the two things say the same thing. So there are just a few things like that that, I can't imagine asking RI to make things easier, but maybe under You're Invited, it would be possible to write something friendly and a good explanation of what they're getting into and why.
Okay. So thank you for that. Let me show you what we have, and that would help me figure out what gap I need to fill a little bit of. So when we go to You're Invited and go to how to register, what we've done is we've grabbed
Oh,
Rotary International.
okay.
Yeah, so the first thing it talks about is getting your My Rotary account.
Okay. Okay, so instead of telling them to go to wait a minute, sorry, instead of suggesting that they go to the convention website,
Mm-hmm.
I should start telling them to go to the HOC website, and that will make it easier for them.
So I would say yes, that would be great. That This page actually came from the Rotary website, but the RI website's a little more cumbersome.
Yeah.
So what we decided to do is we wanted to try to address the concern that you brought up, is people
Okay.
didn't understand how to do it. They didn't understand the My Rotary account piece. So
Yeah.
we figured, back to Rick's point, President Stephanie's going to do an invite. Here's what you got to do. Now here's how to register. And the first thing is start with the My Rotary account. And then
Yeah.
when you click on register now, it will take you over to registration. And then you can
Yeah.
click on it there. The document that I just showed you, I think, is this registration guide right here anyway. It's on their page.
Yeah.
But if you're, in a rush or you don't want to go through everything, you probably don't go looking for it.
Yeah, well, I've been on that page, but as I say, where it says register now,
Yeah.
it just gets confusing. Your thing is, I think, much, much better.
Okay.
And so I'll tell them to come to your website first and not go to the convention website.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. And that's part of what we wanted to try to create with this experience.
Yeah,
Okay. Thanks.
thank you.
Yeah, no worries. All right. Anything else on the website? And I think that takes care of my Rotary account on our list. So I will stop sharing this and we'll just kind of keep working through everything else. So I think what I'm gonna throw this over to Craig, and I'm gonna ask Craig to talk about four things. I'm gonna get Craig to talk about a grandstand idea that we're gonna put in front of the district here soon. He's gonna talk about peace poles. I'm gonna ask him to talk about a Stampede breakfast that we're planning to do. And the fourth thing is I'll call it a booze teaser.
Okay.
I'll let him tell you about that, okay?
Okay, so the first thing, and what we want to get is your feedback here, and want to throw out an idea just to gauge your interest. And I'm not just trying to dictate. I'm trying to get some active, communication if there's challenges, if there's something that needs to be fixed, or what have you. One of our concerns is that there are Rotarians in our district who are maybe not at this point going to get the full convention experience. And, maybe they think that, a full registration is too much money or too big a commitment. So they say, okay, well, I'm, volunteering for a shift, or I'm doing host hospitality, and that's going to be my experience. We really think that the grandstand show, if nothing else, attending the grandstand show on the 21st on the Saturday is something that Rotarians in this district are going to be very, very proud of. Like, it is going to be very impressive what Mark Ambrose and his team have been able to put together. And I just think that every Rotarian in the district should, aim to at least participate in that, and that'll give them a good experience. Now, the other thing is, when you look at the Stampede Grandstand, there's really no such thing as a sold out event. On the final Sunday of Stampede, they get, I don't know, 30,000 people in there or more, because they can stand on the tarmac and those sorts of things. So the chances of us filling up the building and selling it out, there's about 19,000 physical seats. That's going to be a stretch. But the more people that we can get in there, it obviously will, create more of an atmosphere, and just, like I say, it's going to be an amazing event. So thinking about how to engage Rotarians throughout the district, and how to get clubs more involved. How about giving the clubs an opportunity to sell tickets to their members, to their friends and family, with a commission or a fee being paid back to the club. For an example, the tickets themselves are $95 US. And if we were to, say, you're not going to dictate to the Rotarians throughout the district, but if you say, look, if every Rotarian was to take on a goal of selling 4 tickets, now that might be myself and my wife, it might be and 2 kids, it might be myself and wife and bring a couple of friends that they're buying the tickets, or what have you. That would go a long way in filling up the building, and it would go a long way, more important actually, to get the Rotarians and their friends and family involved and experiencing something really cool. So if we were to do that and say, look, let's chart, every time a Rotarian sells a ticket, their club will receive, say, $40 Canadian. And so if you have a club of 50 people, everybody sells 4 tickets, and we know not everybody's going to sell 4 tickets, but there's going to be people that have a business, and maybe they're going to buy 10, for their employees or customers or friends and family or what have you. But if we were to say, look, we want everybody to try to sell 4 tickets, if we reach that goal, then we're looking at 50, so 200 times $40, which would go back directly to the club as a fundraiser. So my question is, do you think that is something that Rotarians and clubs throughout the district would embrace? Would they see it as an opportunity? Would they see it as just something less than that. So I'm just, if I can just sort of open up the floor and see what your feedback is. Madeline,
I'm enthusiastic about the idea.
pardon me?
I think that Calgarians feel proud when the grandstand shows are full of people, and I can't see any reason why not. I had thought that I've already bought my tickets for it because I think it's going to be a great evening. But I had thought that these special events, or whatever you call the signature events,
Yep.
weren't open to non-registrants.
Now, one of the opportunities that we see as well, like right from day one, what I want to do is say, look, we want to not only bring the Rotarians to Calgary, but we want to bring the Calgarians to Rotary as well.
Yep.
And some, of course, they're not going to have access to get into the Saddle Dome or any of the plenaries. And some of the other signature events are going to be a little bit more limited on seats and such. But here's a tremendous opportunity to give to bring the community into Rotary, and they're going to see an amazing show. So yeah, we're not going to block that out to non-Rotarians, but even from an opportunity to maybe have community tickets that we are able to donate out to the community to kids up front, and people, kids and deserving families that don't necessarily have an opportunity to attend a Stampede Grandstand show or what have you. So we're looking at some different opportunities to fill up the building, which will create one of our goals as well was to create a legacy fund at the end, and this is one of the opportunities to do that. Money that will be spread throughout the community in years after the convention comes. So there's a lot of advantages to filling up the building and just getting as many seats in there as we can.
So Craig, what you're proposing is, so if I'm in Olds and I'm gonna buy 100 tickets at $95 US, and I'm gonna take those 100 tickets, and how does this work with the $40 coming back to the club?
No. So you don't have to buy them. You don't have to buy them. You're not buying them and reselling them. Just basically, we can give a purchase code to buyers, or which they can put into the website, or maybe from a logistical standpoint, maybe you have a club champion within the club that can take orders and what have you. So the club and the Rotarians, or the club is not putting out any money on tickets they're going to be stuck on. It's just sort of using them as a sales force to get the word out, but also to create interest in themselves, and give them an opportunity to think, what, this is something that my kids would love, so yeah.
So the tickets would be $40. You'd purchase the tickets for $40.
No. The price of the tickets is, I'm sorry if I was confusing. The price of the tickets is $95 US.
Right.
Okay. Now, when a club sells a ticket at that price, we would give $40 Canadian back to the club. So if a club sold 100 tickets, then we would be donating back, $4,000 to the club for your charitable endeavors.
So how exactly does the club purchase 100 tickets?
Well, what they would do is, like I say, you would get a referral fee, like if you a referral code. So if you go and you buy something online, and somebody buys through our website, one of the things we could do is we could put like a code, an opportunity for them to enter a code at the checkout. so they could buy their tickets, and as soon as they buy the tickets, the code assigns that ticket to the club. So then we are able to track it that way. Another thing that we were thinking, like I say, is if we were to get a champion who maybe says, look, anybody that has interest in buying a ticket, let me know. And, we can either reach out and assist them or what have you. And again, we're just looking for some feedback on how this might work.
So, sorry, I'm still a bit confused.
Mhm.
Are you indicating that the tickets would actually go on sale to the general public, and that if the purchaser put in a code for a Rotary club,
Mhm.
then the club would get that back?
That's
But
right.
what we're really talking about is all the tickets, or a percentage of the tickets, would be on sale to the public through a website.
Now, to be realistic, we're not going to be selling tickets to the general public, but within the Rotary community. So Rotarians who are, part of they're a member of a club, but they have not bought a registration for the convention. They're Rotarian. They would have a vested interest perhaps in attending this event. Their friends and family as well. We're not looking to be Ticketmaster and just all of a sudden just be trying to go out to the public, because realistically there's going to be a limited number of people that have an interest in a Rotary event, and they're typically going to be Rotarians or friends of Rotarians. We're just not limiting it to saying in order to attend, you have to be a paid registrant, full paid registrant of the convention. If you're a Rotarian or you have interest in attending, then we want to welcome you.
So maybe in order to purchase, you'd need to put in which club you were in, and then you could buy for your friends.
Yep.
But you'd have to be a Rotarian
No.
to purchase. No.
On the RI site, that you were talking about it a little bit with the Rotary IDs and those types of things.
Yeah.
That is not affecting the HOC site. That is not part of our site. Anybody could log onto our site, go purchase their tickets online, and just pay through a credit card. So it's not limited. You could say to your friend, if you're interested in attending this event, if you go to rotarycalgary2025.org, and you purchase a ticket at checkout, put in Downtown Club, or put in something that could identify that ticket belongs to the club. And it's just what it does. It gives us an opportunity, and I apologize if I didn't explain this properly, but it does two things. It gets the members of the club and their friends and family to attend something really, really cool, and that would enhance their convention experience.
Yeah.
What it also is potentially is a fundraiser for the clubs. So as members of your club sell tickets, then that money goes back to the club for your charitable, do whatever you want. And it also helps to fill the building. It also helps to put some money into the HOC Legacy Fund. So all of this money is it just makes sense to get as many people in there as we can. Being realistic, that we're not going to get anybody that is non-Rotarian or a non-Rotarian connection they're just not going to be interested, probably.
All right. A lot of information there to digest. Beverly, you have a question?
Whoops. Okay, here I am. I'm calling from a Panama cruise right now, so That's how committed I am. Anyway, Craig, I think it's a hell of a good idea, but my biggest concern is as Calgarians, a lot of Calgarians will, because Stampede's around the corner, right? They'll be attending the show during Stampede. Now, how much, I can't remember how much I pay for a ticket to go to that show. Can anybody remember?
It was-
95 USD.
Yeah.
No. To go, if I live, no, as a Calgarian to attend the show during Stampede, how much is it?
Oh, it's probably with your there's paid attendance or paid to get in. I don't know what that costs to get into the park.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're probably looking at between that and the ticket, you're probably looking at about $75-80. I would guess.
Okay, so now we're looking at 95 US, which is like a condensed version.
It's a different version. Now,
Okay.
having said that, we did on purpose, we did not replicate the Stampede grandstand show. With the rationale that there's going to be a lot of our international guests and local guests that are going to stick around for Stampede. So we didn't want to recreate that. There are going to be some really cool things though, in that where, like, for an example, the Indian relay races that they have during the Stampede, they're actually using our event as the qualifier for the Stampede. So that's going to be exciting. But there's going to be all types of acts. There's going to be fireworks and drones, and it's an impressive show. And
yeah,
it's actually,
I mean, obviously Rotary is a charity organization, so I can understand, the extra that somebody has to pay to attend that. But I guess my concern is trying to sell the show at 95 US. I mean, I think it's a great idea that $40 comes back to the clubs. It's a heck of a fundraiser, but my concern is trying to sell that to the general public for 95 US. Because what's that in Canadian? Like $3,000?
Yeah, it's getting up there, isn't it?
Yeah. Anyhow, that's my only concern is the cost, especially if you're talking, like and what have you.
Yeah, and one of the things that we can't do, we have to be careful of, is it for the four-way test, is we don't want to be selling it to international guests at a different price than we're selling it to local guests and that sort of thing. So the
Totally
price,
understand, yeah.
the price is the price. And again, we're not looking to just get, somebody that isn't Rotary connected will likely prefer to go to the grandstand show. This is mostly, for people that are Rotarians or have a Rotarian friend connection. That's really what it is.
Yeah. Am I getting from this that the HOC is having trouble filling spaces right now? Like, will it look pretty silly if we only have a few people in the stands?
No, I mean, I haven't seen the numbers, but as of when we were on a call earlier today, I can't remember what time it was, 3:00. Up to that point, we'd sold $18,000 worth of tickets today.
Okay.
Up to that
point. Okay, sweet.
The point is, and it's just going to get busier as we move on. The point is that when you have 18,000 seats, you're not going to, we likely will not fill them all. So
I hear you.
If we can get more people, and it's not just about the money. Obviously, if you go to a Hitman game or a Flames game, the more people that are in there, the more exciting it is. And we're not going to be spreading people throughout the entire grandstand. We are going to be condensing people, within. So it is going to be an exciting, environment. But again,
now back to Madeline's question. So any member who's not registered can attend this event?
Yes.
Okay. All right. It's worth a try.
Does anybody else have any comments, Rick?
Thanks, Craig.
From our club's perspective, we have one fundraiser where we sell raffle tickets for our wine raffle in the Christmas time, and I can say for most of us, it's a struggle. We make typically 10,000 on it, but it's something that I would say it's not in our top 10 favorite things to do every year. And I speak for myself as well, because I struggle to sell tickets. But I'm wondering if our goal is to put people in the seats and to bring Calgary to us, I would sooner take maybe a couple $1,000s from my youth service budget, get the $40 Canadian price, and donate them to Kids Up Front. You mentioned that earlier, and our club does support Kids Up Front, and there's other organizations. So rather than treating it as a fundraiser, treat it as a way of building relationship, building connections. That would be my take on the thing. I can't speak for other clubs.
Yeah.
But,
No, that's very valid. Again, you know, if we can just get the Rotarians to be a part of it, I just think that I was talking to somebody who, a Rotarian in our district, that says, you know, I was here in 96 and I didn't attend, and I've been kicking myself for 30 years. You know, I've been to a couple of conventions, and I just, you know, it's just an experience that I missed out on. And again, what my concern is that we're going to get getting people who go, oh, I'm volunteering for a shift or two. That's my convention experience. It's not. I mean, it is, and we're very grateful for that support. But we want all of our members to, you know, be a part of something really cool.
I would suggest if you maybe put together a one-page proposal that we can take to the Calgary clubs or beyond those clubs, have it clearly detailed out what's the ask, and so that we can set expectations, and then the club champions or us here can reach out to our respective clubs and get their feedback, because you got a small sample size here tonight. But
yeah,
I don't disagree with the idea. I just think could be a struggle.
Okay. Anybody else have any comments?
Bev, is that a residual hand, or you got another question or comment?
No, sorry.
That's okay.
I got a question. Why aren't you at the mini bar?
Well, because you get shit if you don't attend this meeting. So I had to, I don't want to get yelled at by you, Craig,
Whereabouts are you right now?
in my cabin.
No, but where on your
But
trip?
I am going out after this.
Oh, okay. Excellent.
Where are you
Yeah,
parked or docked?
We just came through the Panama Canal today.
Oh, nice. Yeah, Teresa and I did that last year. It's
Number
fabulous.
2 on my bucket list.
Nice.
All right. Sorry, I'm doing a time check. We're at 8 o'clock.
Yep.
So Craig, I'm gonna get you to talk about the peace poll.
Okay. So one of the things that that we see an opportunity is to bring a couple of peace polls into Calgary. There's 2 groups that are invested in this right now. One group is Ragus Canada, and we have people from Toronto, from Indiana, Florida, all over the place, and they're bringing their excitement about peace polls and such. So on the Friday night prior to the convention, I guess that would be the 20th, I believe. At 7 o'clock, there's going to be a peace poll presentation that is going to be at the Hilton Hotel, just north of the Stampede Park. And one of the really neat things about this is that they've been able to build a relationship, and there's talk of potentially putting a peace poll at all or many of the Hilton hotels across Canada. So that's really exciting. Another peace poll that is going to be put up is going to be on Stampede Park, the Saturday, or the first, just before the opening ceremonies, actually. the opening ceremonies of the House of Friendship. And President Stephanie is going to be doing the presentation. Now, the peace pole that's going to be on Stampede Park is going to be a temporary pole. It's just going to be there just for the convention. And the reason for that is because the Stampede is in the midst of doing their 20-year capital expansion. And there's some really, really cool things that are going down in Stampede Park, hotels and that sort of thing. So they said, hey, let's just, we don't want to get into a position where we're going up and putting something up and we're going to have to come back to you in a couple months or a couple years, take it down and move it somewhere else. So once they have that plan laid out, probably in the fall or early spring, we're going to be able to sit down with them again and try to find a place for a permanent peace pole on Stampede Park. One of the, knowing that it's a temporary pole, I think that it would be a real shame to sort of have it go up and 5 days later it ends up in somebody's garage or basement or landfill or what have you. So it would be amazing if we could find another location within Calgary that once it gets dedicated on Stampede Park, after the convention, it can be, moved to another location. So just throwing that out there into the club members, if anybody has any interest or, in helping us with that, or any ideas on where we could put the peace pole, we'd love to hear from you.
Could it not
Talk to the
go-
Parks Foundation.
I was going to suggest Challenger Park.
Yeah, great idea. Because I don't think there is a peace pole in Calgary at this time, is there? Yeah, so it would be great to have two.
All right. Good.
Yeah.
Thank you. Craig, let's do pancake breakfast.
Okay. So one of the things that we really want to do is create experiential. Anytime that many of us, we've been to a convention and anywhere in the world, and as soon as you get a block or two away from the convention center, you have no idea that the convention is going on, and everything kind of happens inside. What we want to do is we want to create a wow moment. One of the moments that in 30 years from now, nobody can remember who the speakers are. Nobody can remember what happened in the plenaries, but they remember the grandstand show. They remember pancake breakfast down at Stampede Park. They remember those types of things. So the day of the opening ceremonies, we're looking at taking a 4-hour period and doing a Stampede style pancake breakfast, which would be free to participants. We would get have music and entertainment and really like a wow factor. I mean, somebody comes on Park, or they walk out of the Saddle Dome after being at the first session, or they are going in for the second session, or they're coming out of the BMO Center, and all of a sudden there's just this amazing experiential opportunity. Again, it's going to be free. Now, we are going to actually be branding it Pancakes for Polio. So there will be an opportunity for, hopefully we're going to get the iron lung there, and hopefully we're going to have an opportunity to have voluntary donations, voluntary. But we want to be really careful to make sure that people don't think that they have to buy the breakfast. It's free, it's experiential, and if they want to participate by making a donation to Polio Plus, that would be much appreciated as well. So there's going to be lots of little events and pop-ups and that we hope to achieve, but that's going to be one of the big ones. And again, we're expecting that will be on between the opening and closing ceremonies, or sorry, the two opening ceremonies, so we can get people coming out and going in. There's going to be about a 4-hour period at that point. And the last thing that I think Darcy wanted me to talk about was alcohol, which is my specialty. We've have something pretty exciting coming down, without giving away too much of the details. We have made a partnership with a local brewery that they're going to be making a beer for us for the convention. That's going to be available not just on Stampede Park, but you know, throughout all of the buildings, the signature events, some of the host hospitality, and those types of things. So, like I say, we're going to be making more of a. Oh, the one thing I'll add there too is that it's not just for the term of the convention. This partnership is something that we hope will continue beyond the convention, and we'll be bringing money to the HOC Legacy Fund, you know, for months and years beyond the convention. So we're really excited about that, and more information to come. And I think that I've used up my time.
Wow,
So,
you've covered a lot of ground. Thank you very much. All right, some good stuff there, Craig. Thanks. Questions, additional questions or comments for Craig? Nope, everybody looks good. All right, thank you very much. I'm looking forward to the beer. Can't wait to find out about the beer. And I'll have one with all of you when we're in Calgary. So I'm just looking at the list of things that we had hoped to talk about tonight. Rick, did you want to spend any more time on volunteer assignments, or did we cover that off?
I think for now, I'm working on this sort of overview of where we need volunteers, and so just to give a clearer picture of what they can expect when we do launch.
Okay.
So my hope is to put that on two things. We could put it on the HOC website.
Okay. Yeah.
Under that volunteering page, and I would also put it on the HOC Club Champions website, so they could share that with their members as well.
Okay.
And it goes through it kind of in chronological order, but it sort of breaks up each of the events into time slots, and but not a schedule, not a volunteer schedule, because my understanding is that's in flux, continues to be in flux.
Okay, so you and I, Rick, will work together on getting that up on the website.
Okay.
I
hope to get it. I hope to get it to you over the weekend, probably.
Okay, very good. And I did get you, just kind of on a tangent, I got your note about helping to build messaging, and I'll get back to you about your questions there.
Okay, great. Thanks.
All right. I don't see anything else on my list of things to cover with you. Is there anything else you were hoping we were going to cover tonight? Mary?
Darcy, do we have any kind of an update on the district conference, whatever they're gonna call it, after the closing ceremonies? I've heard rumor of like a wine and cheese at a venue, walking distance from the closing ceremonies, but there's really been nothing to anybody about anything about what's expected or offered or anything.
I'm going to throw that one to Craig.
That is still the plan. We have not secured a venue as yet. We have a couple of ideas in fire and that sort of thing. But yes, what we want to do is we do want to be close to. It will be after the opening ceremonies. It needs to be in close proximity to Stampede Park. In an ideal world, when we talk to some of the venues, they want us to buy it out, and it's not cheap to do that. So we are looking for, to get some partnerships with some facilities that, are just going to work with us on that. The time of the closing ceremonies has actually just been pushed back as well a little bit. So instead of being over at, I think it was originally supposed to be 4 p.m. I think it's now 7 or something like that. So it is still a moving target, but yeah, that is the plan.
And do you have numbers? Do you have any idea how many people you would be entertaining for that event?
We don't as yet. Again, that's going to kind of come back to, to the venue and those types of things.
So primarily conference convention attendees as opposed to District 5360 Rotarians.
No, well, this is
No?
for District 5360. This is
Everybody.
not, we're gonna be entertaining the rest of the world for 5 days. This is
Okay.
for us.
Whether or not they're either a volunteer or attending the registration, it's anybody, so 1,500 could be the big top number, right?
Mhm.
And I think you said after the opening, it's closing, right?
The closing, yes, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, the latest schedule I have, it looks like it's 5:30.
Is it?
And Rick, it would end at 5:30?
Yeah, it's scheduled from 3 to 5:30. Again, this is on the website. Craig and Darcy's website.
Okay. All right. So really focusing in on where we're going to drink that beer, Mary, are you?
Well, I just have a lot of moving parts after the closing ceremonies with international guests coming to my house, so.
Are you offering to host this at your house?
No, thanks, Darcy, it's not that big a house, but you know,
Okay.
thank you for the thoughts.
All right. Thanks. Good question. Any other questions or comments?
Still nothing on the tours?
Oh, hi, Carol. There you are. So I don't have any details on registration, like sales of the tours. Corinne Wilkinson is
Yes.
taking care of all of that. But you know what? I'm going to make a note to follow up with her on that. I know your club's interested, my club's interested to know where that's at. And has Lisa Mackey been in touch with you?
Yeah, she was after I had sent you that message.
Okay, very good.
And I think an update on the signature event. So, ticket sales, I think is always good to share with members.
Where we're at with ticket sales?
Yeah.
I don't
all
know.
4
Rick, do
events.
you have a sense?
No, I don't. I asked this question at our last meeting, and we didn't, not the leads weren't there at that particular meeting. So it would just be, it's just an estimate of number. I mean, I think we know the capacity of all these places, but
Yeah, one of the things that RI has cautioned us on, and is that and we've heard this from probably 3 or 4 other host organizing committees as well. People don't make their decisions on what they're going to be doing until just before they come, which puts it's not ideal for us, but we're okay because we have our venue set and we know what we're doing. It would be very, very difficult if we were just doing a dinner or something, because the caterers want to know how many people are going to be there, and you're not getting anybody telling you until 2 days before the event. But we anticipate that we are going to be fairly close to capacity on the 3 events, like being the New Blood, the Western Show, and the
Big 4.
the Big 4. Yeah, Rock the Nation. So we're going to be fairly close to capacity there. Like I say, the grandstand show, we're going to have a good capacity, but we want to push that one. So, Madeline.
Sorry, I didn't want to change the conversation if you hadn't finished.
Can I just add one comment?
Yeah.
To what Rick is saying. So Rick, so we're getting really aggressive right now as an HOC to get the messaging out. And so one of the things, that's why I asked about the email earlier in the call, is last night 10,000 emails went out to registered attendees. Tonight, another 10,000 emails will go out to registered attendees. So we have about a 24,000 person mailing list, but we're limited to sending 10,000 emails a day. And Craig referenced this a little bit earlier. We learned today that after the email went out last night, we sold $18,000 or $20,000 worth of tickets to the grandstand show. So that's why we're starting to really push so that we can get some information ahead of time and not leave everything to the last minute, and be able to plan accordingly. So as you're talking to all of your friends in the Rotary world, encourage them to buy their stuff early. And for every ticket that they buy, Craig will buy them one of those Rotary beers.
Oh, wow. Thank you, Craig. He's muted. That's okay. We can't hear his.
Perfect.
I just said the promises I've made over the last number of years, if anybody actually called me on them, I'd be in trouble. I'm just actually looking now. I want to see, I haven't been on I just want to see these events and see where things are at.
You know, I'm an associate member of a E Club out of Minnesota, District 90, 95, 9950 or 95, I can't remember. And we've got 50 members
Wow.
from around the world. It's mostly Americans, but we've got them from Europe, Southeast Asia, and I think there's 4 Canadians there, and 50 of them are coming, and we're getting together, have a lunch during the convention. And I'm going to send them this link, the HOC link, and just remind them, because I am aware that Rotarians, like most people, are just-in-time people.
So Rick, on that note, one of the things that we're working through right now, we just don't have it flushed out yet, is we've been approached by some other groups who want to sit together at the grandstand show because it's open seating. And so I know Craig's working on this, and I missed that part of the call today, but we're trying to figure out a strategy around how we can make it easy for groups to buy tickets for the grandstand show, for example, and we'll make sure everybody is seated together so that they can have that group experience that they want to have, and either go for dinner before or go for drinks after, whatever the case may be. So
Yeah, so looking at the numbers here, sorry, the Rock of the Nation were 880, so that will sell out. The Western Ranch Showcase is at 1,010, that'll sell out. Host Hospitality is at 2,300, it is sold out. New Blood is at 417, and that has a capacity. The Jubilee, I think, is about 2,000, not quite 1,700 or 1,800. So that's going to be pretty close. And then the grandstand we're at about 3,500. So that's good. And we're actually going to be having, we do have some other sales on that as well. So I think that at the grandstand, I think we'll probably, if we could get up to 5,000 to 10,000, that would be awesome. It'd be great. Our break even, we're making money on all of these as well. Financially, we're very fiscal. We're not going to lose money on any of these shows. As a matter of fact, the reason that we took these on, if you look at most Rotary conventions, the signature events are done by Rotary. And if we would have let Rotary take on these signature events for us, we would be ending up at a cocktail reception at some restaurant or at the top of the tower or Studio Bell or something. And that's not Calgary. That's not what we do. And we knew that we had an opportunity here with our connections with our friends at the Stampede and the Western Hospitality. We knew that we had an opportunity to make something really remarkable, and I think that we've done that. The other opportunity is most conventions, they go into it with the goal of breaking even or losing as little amount of money as they possibly can. And again, we went into it with the standpoint that we said we want to leave $1 million in the community at the end of the day. Now, are we going to get there? I don't know. But we are going to be making a significant profit, and part of that, a big part of that, is being able to take on the signature event. So yeah, it's exciting for us, and I don't have any concerns at all about where the ticket sales are right now. But the more the merrier.
Full time.
all right, thanks for that, Craig. Good questions. We're at 8:23, so I'm gonna move towards wrapping it up unless there's any. Oh, Madeline's got a burning platform. Okay, Madeline.
Yeah, and I put it in the chat.
Okay.
It's really helpful to have lists for our clubs of those who've registered. But the last list I have is probably quite out of date. And I was wondering whether we could get updated lists.
Christina does get a list. Now, gonna put a little bit of an asterisk on that. There are Rotarians that when they signed up, or at some point when they went into the My Rotary account, they marked themselves as private, unbeknownst to them sometimes. Like, I know that the president of our club, I was giving him crap for not going to Singapore. He goes, "I'm registered." I go, "Well, your name's not on there." But yes, he had years ago put on there, keep it private. So probably, I would say it's probably about 90% accurate. But if there are some names that are missing there, I'm just throwing out the possibility that there could be people who have registered that are not on the list, and that would be why.
Okay, so ask Christina.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was just checking in on the volunteer database with Philippa, and because one of the questions I asked her was, so since April 1st, which is when the price went up again, how many people have canceled their volunteer shifts? And today we've had less than 10. That's good. That's a good sign.
Cool. Good. All right.
Well, your emails are working, because I'm just looking at the sales here, and I couldn't calculate the numbers, but it's been cranking out all day.
Perfect. Well, there's 10,000 more going out tonight.
Perfect.
Oh, wow.
I've learned a lot
Just
about
a
sending
note.
high volume emails. Mary?
I just wanted to say, I don't think you're gonna have any issues with your peace polls. It just so happens, I'm sure you all know, the 1988 Olympic teepee is right here in Medicine Hat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I didn't know that until I was driving through there one day. And
True.
I was like, "Oh, I know that."
Yes, it's very visible, no matter what direction you come from.
Yeah,
We
very cool.
also have a peace pole at Waterton Glacier National Park, do we not?
Yes,
Yes.
we do.
All right.
Okay. Well, thank you guys very much. I'm glad that I had an opportunity to come on here, because I want to thank you all for all that you're doing, and it's going to be very successful, and a lot of it just comes back to the enthusiasm of the members around the district. And one thing that we really want to be thinking about, and I just throw this out one more time, is as in your clubs, think about how you can leverage this convention to build membership, to build the fellowship, and let's just keep it going. So thanks.
Perfect. Thanks, Craig, for making
Thank
the
you.
time. Thanks, everybody, for being here. So we're going to continue doing club